The stars are silent because they are a graveyard, and we are the next victims. Look up at the night sky tonight. It looks so peaceful, right? Vast, ancient, majestic, the whole shebang. But what if that silence isn't peaceful at all? What if, and stick with me here, it's actually the chilling, dead silence of a cosmic crime scene?
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the universe's ultimate existential mystery. We're going to explore the Great Filter, unpacking 7 absolutely terrifying, mathematically grounded reasons why our universe might not be some bustling playground of advanced civilizations, but rather a giant cosmic graveyard.
Part 1, the Cosmic Graveyard. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this because we really need to completely reframe how we view the cosmos. Get ready to look at the night sky not with wonder, but maybe with a creeping sense of dread. See, the universe is mind-bogglingly vast. It's incredibly ancient and packed with billions of habitable worlds. So, statistically speaking, the stars should literally be teeming with intelligent life. Yet, when we listen to the cosmos, you know what we hear? Nothing. Absolute zero. No radio signals, no evidence of giant alien megastructures, definitely no visitors. This right here is what we call the Fermi paradox. The math is practically screaming at us that we shouldn't be alone, but the actual evidence? It points to total, utter isolation.
So mathematically, we fully expect a bustling, wildly populated galactic neighborhood. Yet the reality we actually face is complete and utter silence. It's a massive contradiction, one that's literally kept astrophysicists awake at night for decades. So what exactly is causing this terrifying discrepancy? Where is everybody?
Well, the answer scientists have proposed is deeply, deeply unsettling. They call it the Great Filter. Imagine a theoretical, absolutely insurmountable wall of death. The core idea is that somewhere along the evolutionary timeline, between a tiny single-celled organism and a massive galaxy-conquering civilization, there's a barrier so absolute that virtually no species ever survives it. It literally just filters out life.
Part 2, Natural Cosmic Exterminators.
You see, space is definitely not a peaceful vacuum. It is essentially a giant cosmic shooting gallery. We have to consider the physical anomalies and natural disasters that act as the universe's completely indiscriminate weapons. A developing civilization has to contend with a terrifying array of planetary resets. We're talking about massive supernova blasts that can just sterilize entire solar systems, colossal asteroid impacts. Think of the one that wiped out our dinosaurs, but everywhere, and even rogue black holes silently tearing right through orbital paths. If a civilization doesn't manage to become multiplanetary within a very, very narrow window of time, the universe just hits the reset button.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how extreme it gets. Consider the raw, unadulterated power of a cosmic sniper like a gamma-ray burst. A single burst can release more energy in just a few seconds than our entire sun will output over its entire 10 billion-year lifespan. Let that sink in. If one of these goes off even thousands of light years away, it could instantly strip a planet's atmosphere and fry absolutely everything on the surface. We might be alone simply because entire civilizations are continuously sniped out of existence before they can even figure out a basic warp drive.
Moving on to Part 3, the intelligence bottleneck.
Let's scale things down from exploding stars to something even more fragile, our own past. This is the rare intelligence bottleneck. What if the filter actually happened billions of years ago in the incredibly delicate, almost impossible chain of biological evolution? Just think about our timeline. It took 4 billion years of borderline impossible coincidences and huge evolutionary lottery wins just to go from a single-cell organism to where we are sitting today. So, intelligence might not actually be the inevitable end goal of evolution. Honestly, it might be an incredibly rare freak accident. We could be alone in the cosmos simply by statistical chance.
Part 4, Traps of Advanced Civilizations.
Let's move along and see how this builds, because what if life actually does make it past those biological hurdles? That brings us to technological suicide, focusing on the self-inflicted threats that a species inevitably creates once it finally gets smart. Human history shows us a really clear pattern here. First, an intelligent species discovers profound, world-altering tech, like splitting the atom or, creating artificial intelligence. Second, the civilization's curiosity and technological capabilities heavily outpace its wisdom and moral maturity. And third, inevitable self-destruction. The Great Filter might just be the terrifying reality that intelligence almost always builds its own executioner.
But even if they miraculously avoid blowing themselves up, there's another massive trap waiting: the resource dead end. Look, to travel the stars, you need an absolutely unimaginable amount of energy. Imagine the claustrophobic terror of an advanced civilization trying to build something like a Dyson sphere around their sun, only to suddenly realize their home planet's materials and energy are completely depleted before the technology matures. They're just trapped, forever stuck on a dying rock, staring up at stars they can never reach, slowly waiting for the lights to go out.
Part 5. The Dark Forest Theory. Now, there is an even darker, much more paranoid possibility. If you were in a dark forest at night, you wouldn't scream to find friends. You would stay silent to avoid predators. This right here is the dark forest theory. What if the universe isn't actually empty at all? What if it's teeming with life, but everyone is absolutely terrified? The silence we hear is just a survival mechanism. Because think about it. If the cosmos is full of ancient predatory civilizations, then humanity proudly broadcasting radio and television signals out into space for the last century is basically the equivalent of ringing a giant cosmic dinner bell.
Now, what's really interesting here is this massive, totally physics-defying number, 22%. If there are advanced civilizations out there acting as apex predators or building massive structures, we should theoretically be able to see their shadows, right? Well, we might have. We discovered a star known as Tabby star that suddenly dropped in brightness by a whopping 22%. To put that completely crazy number into perspective for you, a massive gas giant planet like Jupiter passing in front of a star only blocks about 1% of its light.
The anomalies we see with Tabby star are just baffling. The dips in light are entirely random and asymmetrical. At first you might think, oh, it's just a massive dust cloud. But if it were dust, there would be an infrared heat signature, and there isn't one. When astrophysicists run the models, all the natural explanations fail one by one. Do you know what actually does perfectly match this highly specific light profile? The forbidden hypothesis, an alien megastructure. It looks exactly like a hyper-advanced civilization actively disassembling a solar system in the dark to harvest its energy. Mind-blowing, right?
Part 6. Breaking the Simulation. Okay, so we've talked about physical filters and super predatory civilizations, but we have to transition to the final, most existential tier of the Great Filter, the point where reality itself kind of breaks down. Consider the simulation termination theory. If our reality is actually just a highly advanced digital simulation, the Great Filter might just be a hard-coded hardware limit. The idea is that once a civilization becomes too complex, uses up too much processing power, or attempts to leave its localized server to explore the stars, the program just terminates them. So is our very quest to explore space actually a trigger for our own deletion?
And here's the craziest part. We actually have terrifying mathematical evidence that our reality's code might literally be broken. This number right here, 10 to the power of 120, represents something called the vacuum catastrophe. Quantum field theory tells us that empty space is constantly seething with vacuum energy. But when physicists calculate how much energy there should be versus what we actually observe in the real world, our math is wrong. It's wrong by a factor of 1 followed by 120 zeros. To be this mathematically wrong is physically absurd. According to our absolute best physics, the energy inside an empty coffee cup should instantly boil Earth's oceans. The mere fact that we exist at all practically proves the fundamental code of our universe is utterly incompatible with itself.
So, the crucial point is, because the universe's physics are so deeply broken, we run straight into the Boltzmann brain paradox. The second law of thermodynamics dictates that it is infinitely harder to naturally create a complex, 13.8 billion-year-old universe full of real biological humans than it is to randomly create a single hallucinating brain from a random vacuum fluctuation. Statistically speaking, the math of astrophysics insists it is exponentially more likely that you, yes you, listening to this, are just a momentary glitch in the vacuum, hallucinating this entire explainer and your entire life than it is for you to be a real biological human in a physical universe. The filter might just be that reality itself is a statistical hallucination.
Wow. We have looked at supernova snipers, technological suicide, resource exhaustion, and even the literal breakdown of reality itself. If the Great Filter is behind us, then we are the luckiest, most miraculous beings to ever exist in the cosmos. But if the silence of the stars is actually a warning, then our time is rapidly running out. I'm going to leave you with this chilling, lingering question to ponder tonight. Is the filter behind us, or is it waiting for us in the dark?